It's being reported that Pete Hegseth might be on the way out after it was discovered he was having a conversation with his wife, his brother, and his lawyer about sensitive military information involving the strikes on the Houthis. I'm not gonna lie, Pete, it might just be time to delete the app off your phone. Jesus Christ. Now, everybody remembers last month, Pete Hegseth and the entire Trump administration basically came under fire after Goldberg from The Atlantic leaked a Signal chat where they were discussing sensitive information regarding the attacks on the Houthis in Yemen. So as expected, there was a big investigation. A bunch of people got scapegoated and fired from the Pentagon, and out of nowhere, this second leak happens. Now, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no love lost for Pete Hegseth. However, I found this second leak a little bit suspicious because with the first leak that implicated all of Trump's top brass, we know who leaked the information in the chat and we know why they leaked it. However, this time, there was a report from the NPR, and then that report was somehow confirmed by the New York Times that Hegseth was texting from his personal phone on the Signal app to his wife, his brother, and his lawyer about these attacks, but no one knows where the leaks came from. And immediately those publications began to claim without evidence that Trump wanted him out. And of course, Trump went on to refute those claims. And even though Pete is dumb as hell for having that conversation with personal family members on a personal phone through the Signal app, you can't tell me that that doesn't at least raise some red flags for y'all. So being the naturally inquisitive person that I am, I had to think to myself, who the hell want Pete out so badly? And why now? Enter Katherine Maher, the one person whose name comes up and is involved in all of the organizations involving this leak. You see, recently, Pete Hegseth actually advised Trump against Israel attacking Iran's nuclear facilities. And we all know the military-industrial complex doesn't like whenever its top brass is trying to impede the progress of war. You see, they got people to handle that. And Maher is one of those people. And by that, I mean, pick an organization, any organization, and you might find Maher. She's the president and CEO of NPR, who just leaked this story about Pete Hegseth with no real source to confirm it. But some would argue that you don't really need a source to confirm a Signal leak when you're the chair of the board of Signal. Not to mention, she was a non-resident senior fellow of the Atlantic Council. She was also on the board of trustees of the American University in Beirut in Lebanon, which Washington itself described as a valuable instrument of US soft power. And the university itself, of course, has been accused of participating in regime change efforts and soft power Western imperialist efforts around the region. And of course, Maher just so happens to be an expert on disinformation and technology and the relationship between the two. Oh, and by expert, I mean that she actually believes that people trying to seek the truth is actually the problem, and why we don't get enough things done.
Is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the chief of the board of Signal and the CEO and president of NPR. So like I said, whenever you want to stand up to the military-industrial complex in any way, and Hegseth has actually advised against Trump making egregious military errors, not once, but twice, even with this Houthi situation. Yeah, they got people for that. And Maher is one of those people. And it simply comes down to this. Who had access to Signal to leak this information to NPR? And who from NPR could confirm it with somebody from Signal? I don't know, maybe the person who's in charge of both of those organizations? Now, although this man violated all kind of security measures whenever he had that conversation with his wife and his family, he might have a point. This could be a setup, and it could be somebody trying to take him down for his stance to urge restraint against striking Iran. And if that's the case, we should all be worried, because that means they're making it known that they will not accept anything other than the full-blown support of any war the United States wishes to get into or Israel wishes to get into. And if you don't support them, they will take you out one way or the other. So this isn't just a targeting necessarily of Pete Hegseth, but a warning to everyone in Trump's administration. And unfortunately, based off what we've seen so far, they will act accordingly. And that does not bode well for the rest of us.